When a citywide crisis hits, and the systems we rely on every day start to break down, your home becomes a target. The first looters aren't wasting any time, and they'll be testing it for weaknesses almost immediately. Now, these aren't the master thieves you see in movies. They aren't picking complex locks or hacking your high-tech alarm. They're opportunists. They're moving fast, fueled by chaos, and they're looking for the easy score. Their entire game is built on one simple principle: the path of least resistance. And they know the 11 weak points that 99% of homes share. From a security standpoint, they're practically design flaws, and looters are counting on you not knowing what they are. So in this video, we're going to flip the script. I'm going to walk you through the mind of a looter. I'll show you exactly what those 11 entry points are, from the obvious to the dangerously overlooked. Then, I'll give you a step-by-step, actionable plan to harden each one, turning your home from a soft target into a place they're forced to skip. This isn't about fear. It's about being prepared, and it starts right now. Number 1. The front door. Entry point number 1 is the most obvious, and because of that, it's often the most underestimated: your front door. Statistically, it's the most common way burglars get in, with data showing that 34% of them just walk right in. In a chaotic event, it's the first place a looter will check. They'll walk right up to your door and try the handle. A surprising number of break-ins happen with no force at all. They're banking on someone forgetting to lock it, or on the lock itself being more for show than for actual defense. Here's the critical thing you have to get. In a looting scenario, they aren't picking your lock. That takes time and skill. Two things they don't have: they're using brute force. The average front door on the average home is terrifyingly weak. The door might feel solid, but its security is totally dependent on the frame it sits in, and that frame is usually just a thin piece of pine. That deadbolt you trust, the one you turn every night, probably only goes about an inch into a strike plate held in by half-inch screws. Those screws are biting into nothing but that soft wood. One good kick, one solid shoulder slam, and the wood around the strike plate splinters and explodes inward. The entire lock, still attached to a chunk of your door frame, goes flying into your hallway. It takes less than 10 seconds. To a looter, a standard residential door is barely an obstacle. It's a psychological barrier, and in a crisis, that psychology is gone. They see a standard door, and they see an invitation. Toughening up your front door is the single most important security upgrade you can make, and you can do it for less than the price of a pizza. We're going to make this door so strong they'd hurt themselves trying to kick it in. We'll do this by hitting 3 things: the screws, the strike plate, and the door itself. The $5 fix that gives you a 10x return on security: the screws. Take a screwdriver, remove one of those short, half-inch screws from your strike plate and one from a hinge. Take it to the hardware store and buy a box of 3-inch or 3.5-inch construction screws. Go home and replace every single screw in your strike plate and door hinges with these new, long screws. Why? Because you're no longer anchoring your door to a flimsy piece of wood. You're now driving those screws through the frame and deep into the 2x4 studs that make up the actual structure of your house. The force of a kick is no longer hitting a tiny piece of wood. It's being transferred to the skeleton of your home. This step alone will defeat most brute force kicks. Second, upgrade your strike plate. The little metal plate that came with your lock is for looks, not security. For about $20, you can buy a heavy-duty security strike plate. These are made of thicker steel and are much longer, with 4 to 6 screw holes instead of 2. Combined with your new 3-inch screws, this spreads any impact over a much larger area of the wall stud, making it exponentially harder to split. Number 2. Sliding glass doors. Entry point number 2 is the crown jewel for any opportunist: the sliding glass door. It is, without a doubt, one of the weakest points in any home. From a looter's perspective, it's a giant, fragile window with a laughably weak lock. The factory standard latches on these doors are notorious. They can often be jiggled, lifted, or just pried open with minimal noise and effort. The problem goes way beyond the lock. The very design of a sliding door is its downfall. The door sits on rollers in a track. With a little bit of force, many of these doors can simply be lifted up and out of their tracks. A looter doesn't need to be a genius to do this. A A simple pry bar wedged underneath gives them all the leverage they need. And then there's the most glaring weakness: the glass. A patio door is a wall of glass. In a crisis where the sound of shattering glass will be masked by other noise, it's a direct entry point. They don't care about making a scene. They'll use a rock or a hammer, shatter the pane, and walk right in. It's fast, it's effective, and it bypasses any lock you have. They know this is often the way into a living room or kitchen, where electronics and other valuables are often in plain sight. Securing a sliding glass door means using a layered approach. We have to address the lock, the sliding track, and the glass itself. First, the immediate, zero-cost fix: the dowel. Find a wooden dowel, an old broomstick, or a piece of 2x4 and cut it to fit snugly in the bottom track of the door when it's closed. Place it in the track. That's it. Now, even if they defeat the lock, the door physically cannot slide open. This is the single most effective, low-cost security measure for a sliding door. You can also buy adjustable security bars that do the same thing. Second, let's stop the door from being lifted out of its track. Look at the top track of your door frame. You can drill a few screws into the top track, just make sure they don't hang down so low that they block the door from sliding, but low enough that the door can't be lifted up and out. This simple trick removes that lifting vulnerability. Number 3. First floor windows. Entry point number 3 is every single window on your ground floor. Looters see these as a row of potential doors. And just like the front door, the first thing they check is the simplest. Is it unlocked? You'd be shocked how often the answer is yes. But even a locked window is hardly a deterrent. The standard latches on most windows are flimsy. They're designed to keep out rain, not a determined person. The opportunist's mind is all about risk versus reward. A ground floor window, especially one hidden from the street by bushes or a fence, is a low-risk, high-reward target. Those cheap latches can often be jiggled open with a knife. If that doesn't work, a small pry bar can pop the lock or split the wood of the window frame itself with just a quick bit of force. The sound is minimal, much quieter than breaking a large pane of glass. And if they do decide to break the glass, they'll often pick a smaller, less obvious window, like in a bathroom or basement. They might tape the glass to muffle the sound, strike it in a corner, and then pull out the pieces. All they need is an opening big enough to reach in and unlock the window from the inside. They know which windows are hidden and which ones offer the quickest path into your home. We need to treat every first floor window as a separate entry point and secure it. The strategy is to make them too hard and too time-consuming to get through quietly. First, the locks. Those flimsy factory latches have got to go, or at least be backed up. For a few bucks per window, you can add secondary locks. For double-hung windows, you can add simple pin locks that stop the sash from moving. For sliding windows, there are small clamp-like locks that tighten onto the track and physically block it. Keyed window locks are also a great option because they can't be defeated even if the glass is broken. Second, just like with the sliding door, security film is your best friend. Applying it to your most vulnerable windows, especially those in the back or hidden by landscaping, is a game changer. It turns a fragile piece of glass into a barrier that just won't give way. Remember, the goal is to create frustration and delays. Number 4, the garage door. Entry point number 4 is the largest door on your house and often the most insecure: the garage door. Looters love garages for 2 reasons. First, they're usually full of easy-to-grab valuables: power tools, generators, bikes. Second, and more importantly, the garage often has an attached door leading right into your home, a door that people frequently leave unlocked. The garage door itself is famously weak. You've probably heard of the 6-second coat hanger trick. On many automatic openers, there's an emergency release cord hanging down. An intruder can shove a wire coat hanger through the weather, stripping at the top of the door, hook that cord, and give it a pull. The door is now disconnected from the opener and can be lifted by hand. It's quiet, fast, and takes no special tools. Even without that trick, these doors are weak. They're made of thin panels that can be bent or kicked in. A pry bar can create a gap at the bottom, and once they get a grip, they can force the whole door up. And think about this. How many of us leave the garage door remote clipped to the visor in our car? If they break into your car, they've just found the key to your garage. Securing the garage means hardening the main door, securing the opener, and treating the interior door like it's your front door. First, let's kill the coat hanger trick. The easiest fix is to put a zip tie through the hole on the emergency release lever. This stops it from being easily hooked from the outside. You can still break the zip tie from the inside in a real emergency. You can also buy a garage door shield, which is a piece of plastic or metal that blocks access to the release cord. Second, reinforce the door. You should always manually lock your garage door, even with an automatic opener. You can install a slide lock that bolts the door into the track. For even more security, get a security bar that braces the door against the concrete floor, making it impossible to lift from the outside. Number 5, the back door. Entry point number 5 is the back door. For an intruder, the back door offers the single biggest advantage: privacy. It's usually not visible from the street, and it's often shielded by fences or trees. That concealment means they can work on the door longer, use more force, and make more noise without worrying about being seen. Because they're out of sight, back doors are often cheaper, weaker, and less secure than front doors. Builders frequently install lower quality doors and locks in the back of a house to cut costs. They might have large glass panes that are easy to break. Homeowners often get lazy with them, forgetting to lock the deadbolt or leaving a key under a planter, the first place every burglar looks. The attack is the same as the front door: a brutal kick or shoulder slam right at the lock. With the privacy of a backyard, a looter won't think twice about making a loud noise. They can use a pry bar on the frame, or if there's glass, a quick smash with a rock gives them access to the lock inside. For an intruder who isn't in a huge rush, the back door is the preferred point of entry. Your back door needs to be just as tough as your front door. No compromises, no excuses. That privacy is a liability, so you have to make up for it with better physical security. First, repeat the process from the front door. The door itself must be solid core wood or steel. If it has a glass panel, it absolutely must be reinforced with security film. A large, unprotected pane of glass on a back door is one of the biggest security mistakes you can make. Second, the lock and hardware must be top tier. Install a grade 1 deadbolt with at least a 1-inch throw. Take out all the factory screws from the hinges and strike plate and replace them with 3.5-inch construction screws, driving them deep into the wall studs. Install a heavy-duty, reinforced strike plate to stop the frame from splitting. Number 6. Basement windows. Entry point number 6 is one of the most forgotten about weak spots: the basement windows. These small, ground-level windows are often out of sight and out of mind, which makes them a prime target. They are frequently old, single-pane glass set in flimsy frames. The locks, if they even have them, are usually simple, weak latches you can pop with a screwdriver. From a looter's point of view, basement windows are low-hanging fruit. They're often hidden by bushes or located on the side of the house where nobody walks by. This gives them perfect cover. You might look at that small window and think it's no big deal, but a determined person doesn't need much room to squeeze through. The attack is simple. They can pry the window open, breaking the weak latch. They can break the pane of glass, which often makes less noise than a larger window, especially if it's in a window well that muffles the sound. Once the glass is gone, they can reach in, unlock it, and climb inside. The basement then becomes a safe space for them to work on breaking through the interior door to the rest of the house, a door that most people don't even bother to lock. Securing basement windows is about making them physically impassable. First, you must have working locks on every single basement window, and you have to use them. If the latches are weak, add a backup. You can drill a hole through the frame and insert a steel pin, or install a simple locking bar. Second, reinforce the glass. Security film is a great option here, but for basements, you can go a step further. Let's be real. Window bars or grills aren't pretty, but they are a clear, undeniable message to anyone trying to get in. Just make sure they're bolted securely into the foundation, not just a wooden frame, and that they have a quick release on the inside for a fire escape. Number 7. Second floor windows. Entry point number 7 might seem unlikely, but if you've hardened your ground floor, a determined intruder will look up. They're opportunists, remember? They'll take any opportunity they can find. An open second-story window, a flat roof that's easy to get on, or a big tree next to the house can all turn an upper floor window into a real entry point. The biggest weakness of second floor windows? Complacency. We just assume they're safe because they're high up. We leave them open for ventilation, especially at night in bedrooms. We don't check the locks. Intruders know this. They scan your house not just at eye level, but all the way to the roof. They're looking for helpers. Is there a ladder left in the backyard? A trellis they can climb? A fence next to a sunroom they can hop onto to get to the roof? A big, sturdy tree branch that's basically a wooden staircase to your bedroom window? If the answer is yes, then that second floor window is no different than a ground floor one, except it's far more likely to be unlocked. Securing the second floor is all about removing those pathways and getting rid of the "it can't happen up here" mindset. First, I want you to walk around your house and look at it like you're the bad guy. Look up. What could you climb? Ladders and patio furniture need to be locked away. That trellis needs to be flimsy enough that it can't hold a person's weight. Most importantly, trim back any tree branches that come within 8 feet of your house. Don't give them a natural ladder. Second, treat every second floor window like a first floor window. They must be locked. If you're opening them for air, install window stops that only let the window open a few inches, not enough for a person to get through, but enough for a breeze. Number 8. Roof access points. Entry point number 8 is the highest and most forgotten way into your home, the roof. An athletic or bold intruder might target skylights, roof hatches, or dormer windows. These are almost never designed with security in mind. They usually have basic latches meant to keep out rain, not people. A looter going for the roof is banking on one thing, that you've completely forgotten it exists. Who thinks about locking their skylight? They're often left cracked open for air. Old plastic bubble skylights can get brittle and are easy to smash or pry off. A roof hatch for a deck might just have a simple slide bolt on the inside. And getting on the roof might be easier than you think. In dense neighborhoods, they can climb from a neighbor's tree or even an adjacent building. Once they're on your roof, they're invisible from the street. They can work as long as they need to. Prying open a skylight is a quiet and simple job with a crowbar. They can break the glass or plastic, reach in, and enter your home from the top down, bypassing all your ground floor security. Securing your roof means making these high-up entry points as tough as your doors. First, you need to check every single access point on that roof. Get up there, or use a drone or binoculars. Check every skylight, hatch, and dormer. How are they latched? Can they be opened from the outside? Second, reinforce the locks. For skylights that open, make sure they have strong, key-operated locks, not just simple latches. For fixed skylights, especially old plastic ones, think about upgrading to modern, impact-resistant glass. If you can't replace it, the next best thing is to apply heavy-duty security film to the inside. Number 9. Side doors. Entry point number 9 is the often neglected cousin of the front and back doors, the side door. This could be a door to a mudroom or laundry room. Like the back door, its biggest weakness is the concealment it offers. It might not be totally hidden, but it's not in full view either, and that puts it in a dangerous blind spot where security is usually an afterthought. Intruders get home design. The front door is for show, so it gets nice hardware. The back door is a known weakness. The side door is the one nobody really thinks about. It's often a cheaper, builder-grade door installed for convenience. It might be hollow core. It almost definitely has the standard weak lock and short screws that offer zero real protection. A looter will test this door with the same brutal efficiency as the others. Because it's partly hidden from the street, they have just enough cover to land a powerful kick or use a pry bar without feeling totally exposed. It's a quick, high-percentage gamble for them, and they know it often leads right into the heart of your home. The fix here is simple. Treat this door exactly like your front and back doors. You just need the discipline to actually do it. Every single exterior door needs to be held to the same high standard. First, make sure the door is solid core wood or steel. A hollow core side door is just an invitation. Second, upgrade the hardware. A grade 1 deadbolt is mandatory. Replace every screw in the strike plate and hinges with 3.5-inch construction screws that anchor the door frame to the house's studs. Install a heavy-duty, reinforced strike plate. Number 10. Patio doors. Non-sliding. Entry point number 10 is the classic French or hinged patio door. Unlike sliders, these doors swing open, but they share a critical and often fatal flaw. They are mostly glass. The problem is right in front of your face. Yeah, they look great and let in a lot of light, but from a security standpoint, they're a total nightmare. A looter sees a French door as a wall that can be shattered. In a crisis, the sound of breaking glass isn't a big deal. A single rock or hammer blow can shatter a huge pane, giving them instant access to the handle inside, or a hole big enough to just step through. The entire security of the door is gone in an instant. Even if they don't attack the glass, the doors themselves are weak. If you have double doors that meet in the middle, the locking point is often just a weak slide bolt at the top and bottom of one door and a standard lock on the other. This central point is a major weak spot that can be forced open with a pry bar. The small bolts can be bent or broken, letting the intruder push both doors right open. Securing a hinged patio door means focusing on the glass and the locking mechanism. First and foremost, if you have these doors, applying a quality security film is not optional. It's not a suggestion. You have to do it. It's your primary defense. The film will hold the glass together even after it's shattered, turning an easy entry into a frustrating, time-consuming mess. An intruder expecting a quick smash and grab will be stopped cold. Second, upgrade the locks. For a single hinged door, treat it like any other exterior door. Grade 1 deadbolt, 3-inch screws. For double doors, it's more complex. Those flimsy slide bolts at the top and bottom are useless. Replace them with heavy-duty, multi-point locking systems that bolt the door into the frame at several points. At the very least, install longer, stronger slide bolts that anchor securely into the header and the floor. Number 11. Commercial building entrances. Entry point 11 is for the business owners or anyone living in a mixed-use building, the commercial entrance. This means glass storefront doors, pedestrian gates, and loading docks. During civil unrest, commercial properties are usually the first targets. They're seen as being packed with goods and don't have someone home 24/7. Commercial entrances have their own unique weaknesses. Glass storefront doors are designed for window shopping, not security. They're usually single-pane tempered glass that, while strong, is designed to shatter into a million tiny safe pieces on impact. For a looter, this is a feature, not a bug. One heavy object, and the entire door disintegrates, letting a crowd of people pour in. Loading docks are another massive weak spot. They're in the back, out of sight, and the big roll-up doors can be pried open with heavy tools or even a vehicle. Fire exits are also a common target, since their locks are sometimes less robust or just left propped open. Securing a commercial building requires a tougher, more comprehensive approach. First, for glass doors and windows, standard security film is a decent start, but you really need commercial-grade stuff. Products like Riot Glass or other polycarbonate security glazing can be installed right over your existing glass. This stuff is virtually unbreakable and can take repeated hits from hammers and bats without failing. Roll-down shutters or security grills are another fantastic option. They're more expensive, sure, but they're a literal wall of steel. Second, all pedestrian doors, including fire exits, need heavy-duty commercial locks and alarms. Access control systems like keycards are much better than traditional keys. It is critical to have alarms on all fire exits, so if they're opened, a loud local siren goes off immediately. Look, securing your home or business isn't about building an impenetrable fortress. It's about understanding risk and making your property a harder target than the one next door. It's about taking away the easy chances that looters are desperately hunting for. Every single fix we talked about today is an actionable step you can take right now to buy yourself time and make yourself safer. If you found this information valuable, do me a favor and hit that like button. And subscribe, because our work here isn't done. Now, I want to hear from you. Go down to the comments and let me know. Which of these 11 points was the biggest eye-opener for you? And what's the one security upgrade you're planning to make this week? Share your own tips, too. The knowledge in that comment section can be just as valuable as the video itself. Let's get prepared. Together. The steps we've outlined aren't about paranoia. They're about empowerment. They're about switching your mindset from being a potential victim to being a proactive defender of your family and your property. The reality of a crisis is that first responders will be overwhelmed. The responsibility for your immediate safety is going to fall right on your shoulders. By hardening these 11 entry points, you are building layers of defense. You're creating a buffer of time and distance between the chaos outside and the safety inside. This isn't about getting overwhelmed. It's about starting. Just pick one thing from this list. Go to the hardware store and buy that box of 3-inch screws. Install that security bar on your sliding door. Apply that film to one hidden window. Each small action you take makes you safer. It builds confidence. It gives you peace of mind, knowing you haven't been passive, that you've taken control. Stay smart, stay prepared, and stay safe.